Most people grow up believing one powerful idea: get a good job, earn a stable salary, and you'll be financially secure. It sounds safe. It sounds responsible. And for decades, it was considered the ultimate path to success. But here's the uncomfortable truth no one tells you. Your salary alone will never make you rich. Not because you're not working hard enough. Not because you lack intelligence. But because the system you're playing in was never designed to make employees wealthy. It was designed to keep them stable, predictable, and dependent. Think about it. You wake up early, commute, give your best hours to someone else's dream, and at the end of the month, you get paid. That paycheck feels like progress. It feels like reward. But what if I told you that paycheck is also a ceiling? A salary is a fixed exchange of time for money, and time is limited. No matter how talented you are, you only have 24 hours in a day. You can't double your time, but your expenses, they can double. Your responsibilities, they will grow. Inflation, it doesn't wait for your promotion. And that's where the trap begins. You start earning, and life slowly upgrades with you. A better phone, a nicer apartment, more comfort, more convenience. Nothing wrong with that. But without realizing it, you enter a cycle. Earn more, spend more, need more. And suddenly, your salary isn't building wealth. It's maintaining a lifestyle. Let's be real for a moment. If salaries made people rich, then every doctor, engineer, and corporate executive would be financially free. But look around. How many high-income earners are still living paycheck to paycheck? Because income alone doesn't equal wealth. Wealth is what you keep. Wealth is what grows without your constant effort. Wealth is what works for you even when you're not working. Your salary, it stops the moment you stop. And that's the biggest weakness. You might be earning $5,000, $10,000, even $20,000 a month. But if all depends on your presence, your energy, your time, then you're still trading life for money. And deep down, you know it. That subtle anxiety when you think about losing your job, that pressure to keep performing, that fear of what if this stops, that's not freedom. That's dependency. Here's another perspective most people ignore. A job gives you linear income. You work 1 hour. You get paid for 1 hour. You work overtime. You earn slightly more. It's predictable, but it's also limited. The wealthy don't rely on linear income. They build leverage. Leverage means your effort multiplies. One action creates multiple results. One idea generates income again and again. Instead of trading time, they build systems. A business, an investment, a digital asset, something that continues to pay, even when they're not actively working. That's the difference. When you rely only on a salary, you're always starting from zero every month. You work, you earn. You stop, it stops. But when you build assets, you break that cycle. Money starts working for you. And this is where most people get stuck. Not because they can't do it, but because they're never taught to think this way. School teaches you how to get a job. Society teaches you to be stable. But almost no one teaches you how to build wealth. So people follow the default path. Study hard, get hired, climb the ladder, wait for raises, hope for retirement. But here's the reality. Raises rarely beat inflation. Promotions come with more stress, not freedom. And retirement? It's often delayed freedom, when your energy is no longer the same. So the question becomes, is this really the life you want? To spend your best years working for money, instead of building something that works for you? This doesn't mean having a job is bad. A salary is important. It gives you stability. It gives you a starting point. But the mistake is thinking it's the end goal. Your salary should be your foundation, not your destination. Because if all your income comes from one source, you're one decision away from losing it. And that's risky. The wealthy understand one simple principle. Never rely on a single stream of income. They diversify. They invest. They build. Even if they have a high-paying job, they don't stop there. They ask different questions. How can I make money outside my job? How can I turn my skills into something scalable? How can I create income that doesn't depend on my time? And that shift in thinking changes everything. Because once you stop seeing your salary as the main goal, you start seeing it as a tool to invest, a tool to build, a tool to create opportunities. not something to depend on forever. Let me give you a simple analogy. Imagine your salary is a bucket of water you carry every day. You work hard to fill it, and you use it to survive. But no matter how hard you work, the bucket can only hold so much. Now imagine building a pipeline instead. At first, it's harder. It takes time, effort, learning. You might not see immediate results. But once it's built, water flows automatically. That pipeline is your asset. And the sooner you start building it, the sooner you move from survival to freedom. Because at the end of the day, getting rich is not about how much you earn. It's about how much you own and how much works for you. So if you're relying only on your salary right now, don't panic. But don't stay comfortable either, because comfort is where growth stops. Start questioning the system. Start thinking beyond the paycheck. Start exploring ways to create income that doesn't require your constant presence, because your salary can pay your bills, but it will never build true wealth on its own. Now, let's go deeper into something most people never question. Why do so many people, even after earning more money, still feel stuck? You would think that once your income increases, your life should automatically improve in a meaningful way. More money should mean more freedom, more peace, more control. But for many people, the opposite happens. They earn more, but they also owe more. They earn more, but they also stress more. They earn more, but somehow they still feel like it's not enough. This is called the income illusion. It's the belief that making more money from your job will eventually solve your financial problems. And at first, it feels true. That first salary increase feels amazing. The next promotion feels like progress. But over time, something strange starts happening. Your lifestyle starts rising with your income. You move into a better house. You upgrade your car. You start spending more on things that once felt like luxuries. Again, none of this is wrong. But here's the problem. Your expenses grow just as fast, sometimes even faster, than your income. And now, instead of being financially free, you're financially upgraded but still trapped. This is a lifestyle trap. It's subtle. It doesn't feel dangerous. In fact, it feels like success. But in reality, it locks you into needing your salary more than ever before. Think about it. If your monthly expenses are low, you have flexibility. You can take risks. You can explore opportunities. You can step away if needed. But if your expenses are high, you can't afford to stop. You can't afford to fail. You can't afford to think long term. You're forced to stay exactly where you are, no matter how much you want to move forward. And that's how a high salary can actually reduce your freedom instead of increasing it. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. Most people confuse being rich with looking rich. Looking rich is easy. Nice clothes, expensive gadgets, luxury lifestyle, social media highlights that make it seem like everything is perfect. But being rich, that's invisible. It's the money you don't spend. It's the assets quietly growing in the background. It's the freedom to say no without fear. And here's the truth. Many people who look rich are actually financially fragile. They have high incomes, but no real assets. High expenses, but no real security. If their salary disappears, their entire lifestyle collapses. On the other hand, truly wealthy people often live below their means. Not because they have to, but because they understand the game. They prioritize ownership over appearance. They buy assets before luxuries. They delay gratification, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. This is where mindset becomes everything. If you believe your job is your main source of financial growth, you will focus all your energy there. You'll chase promotions, negotiate salaries, and try to climb higher. But if you understand that your job is just one piece of the puzzle, your behavior changes. You start thinking like a builder, not just a worker. You begin asking, what can I create? What can I own? What can grow without me being there all the time? And that's when the shift begins. Let's talk about another hidden limitation of salary. Control. When your income depends on your job, you don't fully control it. Your company decides your raise. Your boss decides your growth. The market decides your stability. Even if you're incredibly skilled, there are factors you can't control. Economic downturns, company decisions, layoffs, industry changes. And when those things happen, your income can disappear overnight. That's the risk most people ignore. They think, it won't happen to me until it does. And suddenly, years of hard work feel unstable. Now, compare that to building your own sources of income. It might be slower at the beginning. It might require learning new skills. It might feel uncertain. But over time, something powerful happens. You gain control. Control over how you earn. Control over how you grow. Control over your future. Instead of relying on one stream, you create multiple streams, and each one reduces your dependence on the other. This doesn't mean you need to quit your job tomorrow. That's not the message. The real message is this. Don't rely on your salary alone. Use it strategically. Think of your salary as fuel, not the destination. Fuel for investments. Fuel for learning new skills. Fuel for building something on the side. Because the earlier you start, the easier it becomes. Time is your biggest advantage, but only if you use it wisely. Let's break something down in a simple way. There are two types of people. The first type works for money and spends it. The second type works for money, then uses that money to build assets, and eventually lets those assets generate more money. At first, both might look the same. Both have jobs. Both earn salaries. But over time, the difference becomes massive. One stays stuck in the cycle. The other escapes it. And the difference is not intelligence. It's not luck. It's not background. It's awareness. Once you understand that a salary alone cannot make you rich, you stop expecting it to do something it was never designed to do. And that realization can feel uncomfortable because it means you have to take responsibility. It means you have to think differently. It means you have to step outside the safe path. But it also means something powerful. You're no longer limited by that path. You can create your own. So instead of asking, how can I earn more for my job? Start asking, how can I use what I earn to build something bigger? That one question can change your entire financial future. Because at the end of the day, your salary is just the beginning. What you do with it is what determines whether you stay average or become truly wealthy. Now, let's talk about something that separates those who stay stuck from those who actually escape the cycle. And that is one simple word: ownership. Most people spend their entire lives earning money, but very few focus on owning anything that produces money. That's the real difference. When you only rely on a salary, you're participating in the economy as a worker. You give your time, your energy, your skills, and in return, you get paid. It's a transaction. Fair, predictable, but limited. But when you start owning assets, you shift roles. You're no longer just working in the system. You're benefiting from the system. And that's where wealth begins. Let's break this down in the simplest way possible. There are two paths. On the first path, you wake up every day and work to earn money. On the second path, you build or acquire things that generate money for you, even when you're not working. The first path is active income. The second path is leveraged income. And here's the truth most people ignore. You cannot work your way to true wealth without leverage. Because without leverage, your growth is always tied to your effort. And your effort has limits. This is why some people work incredibly hard for decades and still struggle financially, while others, who understand leverage, create exponential growth over time. So what exactly are these assets everyone talks about? Assets are things that put money into your pocket, not things that look good, not things that impress others, not things that make you feel successful for a moment. Real assets: a business that generates profit, investments that grow over time, digital products that sell repeatedly, skills that can be scaled beyond your time. These are the things that build wealth. But here's where people get confused. They think building assets requires a lot of money. It doesn't. It requires a shift in thinking. You don't need to start big. You need to start smart. Let's say you have a job right now. That job gives you income. Instead of spending all of it, you begin allocating a portion of it toward building something. Maybe you start learning a high-income skill. Maybe you begin investing consistently. Maybe you start a small side business online. At first, it feels slow. It feels like nothing is happening. You're putting in effort without seeing immediate rewards. And this is where most people quit. because we've been conditioned to expect quick results. Work 1 month, get paid at the end of the month. But building assets doesn't work like that. It's delayed, it's quiet, it compounds over time. And if you stay consistent, something incredible starts to happen. Your effort from the past begins to pay you in the present. That's when the game changes. Now imagine this. You still have your salary, but alongside it, you have other streams starting to grow. Maybe small at first, but growing. Now your survival no longer depends on one source. Now your stress starts to reduce. Now your options start to increase. This is how people slowly transition from dependence to independence. Not overnight, but step by step. Let's talk about another powerful concept: time freedom. Most people think money is the ultimate goal. It's not. Time is. Money is just a tool to control your time. When you rely only on a salary, your time is already sold. You've committed hours of your day in exchange for income. And again, there's nothing wrong with that in the beginning. But if that's your only strategy forever, then your time will always belong to someone else. Wealthy people understand this deeply. That's why they focus on building systems that free their time. They might work hard in the beginning, very hard, but their goal is not to work forever. Their goal is to reach a point where their income is no longer tied to their daily effort. And once that happens, everything changes. They can choose how to spend their day. They can focus on what matters. They can walk away from things that don't align with their values. That's real wealth, not just having money, but having control over your life. Now, here's something you need to hear. Even if it's uncomfortable, if you only depend on your salary, you are replaceable. Not because you're not valuable, but because the system is designed that way. Companies can hire someone else. Roles can be automated. Industries can change. And when your entire financial life depends on one source, that risk becomes dangerous. But when you build your own assets, you become less replaceable. Because you're no longer just contributing to someone else's vision. You're creating your own. You're building something that belongs to you, something that grows with you, something that no one can take away easily. And that creates a different kind of confidence. Not the confidence that comes from a job title, but the confidence that comes from knowing you can generate income no matter what happens. That's powerful. Now, let's address the biggest excuse people make. I don't have time. The truth is, it's not about having time. It's about using time differently. Everyone has 24 hours. Some people spend all of it maintaining their current life. Others spend a small portion of it building their future. Even 1 or 2 hours a day, if used consistently, can completely change your trajectory over a few years. But it requires discipline. It requires vision. It requires patience. Because the results won't come immediately. And that's exactly why most people never do it. They stay in the comfort of what's familiar. They keep relying on their salary. They keep postponing the idea of building something of their own. Until one day they realize years have passed and nothing has changed. Don't let that be your story. Start small, but start now. Use your salary as a tool, not a crutch. Build something on the side. Learn how money works. Understand how to make it grow. Because at the end of the day, your salary can support your life, but only ownership can upgrade it. And once you truly understand that, you'll never look at money the same way again. All right, now let's bring it all together and close the loop on this journey. Because the final truth about wealth is the one most people never realize. If you've been following everything we've discussed so far, one idea should be clear. Relying on a salary alone is a trap. It gives security, yes, but security is not freedom. Comfort is not wealth. And being busy does not equal progress. Now, let's take it a step further. The wealthy don't just escape the salary trap. They redefine the game. They don't wait for someone else to give them permission to earn more. They don't rely on the system to decide their worth. They create their own system. This starts with financial literacy. Most people never learn how money actually works. They don't know the difference between assets and liabilities. They don't know how compounding interest, investments, and leverage can work them instead of against them. But here's the good news. It's learnable. You can teach yourself these principles. And the sooner you do, the faster you break free from the limitations of salary. Let's talk about building multiple streams of income. because this is a cornerstone of true wealth. Investments, stocks, real estate, bonds, index funds, these are all vehicles that allow your money to grow without you actively working every single day. The key is consistency and patience. Don't chase get-rich-quick schemes. Build steady, compounding income streams. Side business or freelancing. Even 1 hour a day dedicated to a side project can snowball over time. Digital products, content creation, consulting, e-commerce. These are all examples of work that can eventually generate passive or semi-passive income. Intellectual property and digital assets. This is where leverage really shines. Write a book, create an online course, develop software, or build a blog or YouTube channel. Once the work is done, it can continue earning for years. Your time invested multiplies. Invest in yourself. This may sound obvious, but it's the most overlooked. Learning high-income skills, improving negotiation abilities, mastering marketing, or understanding investing. These are the tools that allow you to multiply your salary into wealth. Here's a truth that separates the average from the wealthy. It's not how much you earn, it's how much you keep and how it grows. Many people earn six-figure salaries and still struggle financially because they spend it all. Wealth isn't about inflating your lifestyle. It's about creating systems that grow your resources independently of your time. Another crucial point, risk and comfort are enemies in wealth building. Most people stick to their salary because it feels safe. But financial freedom requires risk, calculated, informed risk. Starting a business, investing in the stock market, or even learning a new skill outside your comfort zone carries risk. But risk is the price of leverage. Without it, you remain trapped. And that leads us to the most powerful principle of all. Time is your ultimate asset. Your salary buys survival. Your assets buy freedom. When you have assets generating income, your time becomes your own. You can choose how to spend it, where to focus, and what kind of life you want to create. That is the ultimate power money can give you. Not possessions, not status, not recognition. Freedom, time, choice. Here's a practical roadmap to take action today. Step 1. Audit your current finances. Know exactly how much comes in, how much goes out, and what you can allocate toward building assets. Step 2. Educate yourself. Learn about investing, passive income, and high leverage skills. Knowledge compounds just like money. Step 3. Start small. Even saving and investing $100 a month consistently builds more over time than spending it immediately on wants. Step 4. Build or acquire an asset. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to exist. Side hustle, small investment, digital product, anything that can grow. Step 5. Reinvest and scale. Don't spend all the gains. Let your money work for you so your freedom multiplies. Remember, the goal is not just to make money. It's to build freedom, choice, and security. And none of this comes from a paycheck alone. Your salary is a starting point, a tool, not the end goal. The moment you understand that, your entire approach to life and money shifts. You stop chasing raises. You start chasing opportunities. You stop worrying about stability. You start building leverage. Here's the final reality check. A salary will pay your bills. A salary will maintain your lifestyle. A salary will make you feel comfortable, but it will never make you rich. Wealth comes from assets, leverage, and control over your time. It comes from thinking beyond what's convenient today for what's possible tomorrow. It comes from making money work for you, not the other way around. So don't wait. Don't rely on the next promotion, the next bonus, or the next company raise to make you wealthy. Use your salary wisely, but build your own path. Invest in knowledge. Acquire assets. Create systems. Multiply your time. Because at the end of the day, true wealth is freedom, and freedom comes when your money works for you, not when you work for money. Start building today, one step at a time. Your future self will thank you. If you want, I could also write a full YouTube-friendly version with hooks, pauses, and emphasis points that fits perfectly for a 20 to 25-minute motivation video for a USA audience. That way, you can directly record it without editing. Do you want me to do that?